Well, a billionaire with a big vision now has legal permission to take over the leases of three former Hudsons Bay department stores. Ruby Liu received court approval earlier this week. The three locations are at malls that she already owns: Mayfair Shopping Centre in Greater Victoria and Woodgrove Centre in Nanaimo. The third is here in the Lower Mainland. That would be Tsawwassen Mills. Now, for more on this, we're joined by a retail analyst who has been following this very closely. Carl Boutet is a chief strategist at Studio RX. They consult and strategize for retailers. He's also an advisor at McGill's School of Retail Management. Good morning to you, Carl.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us. You've been following this story for quite some time. What does this approval mean in tangible terms, in concrete terms?
Well, it gives the Central Walk and Ruby Liu team the opportunity to launch this concept that we're all excited to see into the market, because we know that she's bid on 28 locations in all, but the only ones that have been approved so far are those three in the malls that she already owns. So we hope that in coming months we'll get a better idea of what that concept will be, and possibly might influence the 25 others to follow suit.
Now, she does not want to stop, though, at these three leases. Is that right? I mean, what is her ultimate vision here?
Well, ultimate, we don't know, but we know that right now what she's pursuing is 25 other leases from former the Bay locations in Ontario, Alberta, and BC. We've heard from the courts that there's a lot of opposition to those 25 locations. The landlords don't seem yet quite comfortable with the concept and have probably more questions than answers at this point. So I think they would like to see the concept materialize a bit more and become a little more tangible in their eyes, especially on the financial side. And that I don't know if it would be the ultimate goal, but it would obviously be a pretty important one if there were more landlords to come on side and allow Ruby to expand her vision of this concept across the provinces.
And what is her vision? What is the concept?
Well, that's the big question. So we haven't seen it directly, right? We've just heard sort of philosophically what it's meant to represent is a broader mix of entertainment, food, hospitality, mixed in with some retail, some brands. A very sort of Asian approach, I would say, to retail. And one of the ways I've connected with her and her team is the fact that I have the opportunity a couple of times a year to go also teach in Asia, not just at McGill, and see these concepts sort of really expand and gain popularity. So I think she wants to bring some of that energy to our retail ecosystem here in Canada. So it's really the idea that, yes, we do still sell products, but we mostly sell experiences around those products, which can include from what we eat to what we listen to what we see, to what we do with these activities that are very multicultural in nature.
But are we talking about taking over, though, leases for entire Hudson's Bay stores? What had been the locations for Hudson's Bay stores?
Absolutely. So these are usually floor plans. We're talking around 150,000 square foot locations.
Yeah.
So they're pretty large. I tend to think of them sort of as mini malls. I think that's probably the way that her team's approaching it as well too. That we know they're pretty successful at curating the malls that they already own. So do they take that and sort of scale it to a more manageable size, bringing that same energy and expanding it across Canada and sort of what I would deem to be sort of these mini commercial centers that would be in former HBC locations. So yeah, the idea is to take over the full space, which the landlords would like, obviously, because they're not easy spaces to rent on as they are right now. But I'm sure a lot of landlords have different plans for them that go beyond just retail, because there's a big trend right now around repurposing and some, we say, mixed use, which could include residential, office, it could use healthcare, there could be all sorts of different use cases. They no longer just need to be retail focused if the cities permit it.
It's interesting because you see, in malls like the Aberdeen Centre in Richmond, for instance, which is heavily, largely Asian, you see sort of attached areas of boutiques that, you just would not find anywhere else. I mean, it's kind of, is that the kind of concept we might be talking about?
I believe so. I think it's really multicultural. Obviously, the Asian influence will be strong here, coming from Ruby, who's also owned malls in China. So she brings a lot of that. But I know that she's also, very sensitive to the other communities in the areas of the malls that she's looking at the department stores that she's looking at. So I don't know if it would be exclusively Asian, but I think we could expect more of a lean towards the Asian community.
As a strategist, Carl, do you look at her and think, yeah, she could pull this off?
Yeah, I really do. I think she's a breath of fresh air. One thing we in our industry that is very popular right now is our owners that are with private capital. So she doesn't have to go to boards and get investment from pension funds, for instance, like the mall owners are. So they're a lot more agile. She's already put up 10 million in the bid process, but she's committed to 100. Right now, she's basically 6 of that is spent on the 3 locations, ironically, that she already owns. That she had to buy back those leases, which is part of this process, which could seem strange, but it is very much tied to the monetization of trying to get money back to the creditors of HBC.
Right.
And then how that expands out, where that goes from here, we'll know in a couple of months and probably years, because I think it'll take her some time to really build this up and show the market its full potential.
Carl, great to hear you this morning. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. That's Carl Boutet, Chief Strategist at Studio RX. And we also reached out to Ruby Liu's Central Walk Company, which owns her malls. We did request an interview. We have yet to hear a response.